everyone. Now today we're focusing on printing using natural objects. Now I'm going to show you a few different techniques for printing with natural objects. You may not have the equipment for doing all of them, but I'm going to give you a selection of equipment and hopefully you will all have some of them so you can try out some of the techniques. Okay, so this is the page that I've made today, and to do this project you will definitely all need a container where you have collected some natural objects to use. So that's something that you will all need for this project. So I've got shells, I've got leaves, I've got flowers, I've got sticks, I've got seed heads, an interesting seed head I put up today, and here's another seed head. Okay, now let's get going. Year 1, 2 and 3 this time. Okay, so to do this project you will need, if possible, it's not essential, a big piece of paper to stick on all your different types of printing. So if you look here at mine, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different types of printing all stuck together. Okay? Excuse me. If you don't have a large piece of paper, that's okay. You will also need 4 or 5 pieces of paper to do your printing onto. Then the other equipment that I mentioned, if you don't have it all, don't worry, but if you have, that's great. So you will need some crayons or oil pastels, watercolour paints, some normal poster paints, a pot of water, a paintbrush, and some pieces of sponge. Now, as I say, you may not have all of these things, but see what you do have at home. Okay, so I'm going to show you one technique at a time for printing objects. Now, if you remember, printing is when we make a copy of the surface of something. Okay, so I'm going to start off by doing some printing using crayons. So I've taken my piece of paper and I'm going to choose some leaves and some other objects that have nice, can you see it's bumpy, it's not flat, so you need a surface that's slightly bumpy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the leaf underneath the page. I'm going to take a crayon and I'm just going to rub over that leaf, and you can see that it creates a lovely leaf print. Okay, let me try with something else. I'm going to try this time using a shell. So I'm going to put the shell underneath. I'm going to choose a different colour and I'm going to rub over the shell. Now you will find that some prints work better than others. That one hasn't been very successful, but try as many different things as you can. I'm also going to try printing a flower. So I'm going to take the flower, put it under my paper, take my crayon and rub over. Now again, some of it has worked, not that well. Remember, when you use your crayon, you need to put the crayon on the side. You can't do it like this, it won't work. You need to lay it on the side. Okay, so I'm going to try 2 more things. I'm going to try the seed head. So I pop it under the paper, put my crayon on the side and rub over the seed head, making sure that it doesn't move. Okay, and let me try one more thing from my box. I'm going to try another leaf, I think. So I'm going to pick this leaf. I'll pop it on the back. If you use the front, it won't work so well, so use the back of the leaf. And let me choose another colour. Here I go. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to fill your piece of paper with different prints. You may want to use just 1 or 2 colours. It's up to you. I'd just like to show you this leaf because this leaf is great for printing. So if I put it under my page, look what happens when I print. It makes nice long strokes like that. Okay, right across the page. Okay, now you can see I've overlapped different prints. It doesn't matter if your prints overlap each other. In fact, it creates a good effect. So this is what we call rubbing to create a print. So rubbing with crayons to create a print. The next technique I'm going to show you is also rubbing, but this is when you may make a picture using the rubbings that you've done, and a whole picture using just one natural object. So I'm going to use this seed head, and I'm just going to make a pattern using it. So I think I'm going to choose one colour alone. I'm going to rub it this way, and then I'm going to make a sort of flower pattern. I'm going to rub it that way. So you can make any sort of design you want to, just using one of the objects. Then you might want to change the colour. So I'm going to use red, and you can keep going, keep adding to your design, just like I have done over here. I've made a complete design on the piece of paper. If you then wanted to, you could take your watercolour paints and your water pot, and you could just wash over the inside the prints, and then you may also want to paint the background as well. Okay, so you can make it one full page of printing, and it's up to you how you go about doing that. Okay, so that's technique number 2. Let's try out another technique. Now, let me take my paper. This is when we make the outlines of the leaves, and this is how I'm going to do that. I'm going to take some poster paint and some pieces of sponge. I'm going to take a leaf, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the leaf in the middle of the page, and I'm just going to dab my sponge around the leaf. Now, it's very important when you do this that you keep the leaf still, otherwise it won't work. Okay, dab it right away around so that when I lift the leaf off, you have a print. Let me try a different leaf this time. I'm going to try one of these long leaves here. Okay, so I'm going to lie that there. I'm going to choose a different colour, and I'm going to dab right the way around the leaf to create the leaf shape. Okay, and you can keep going, keep trying out different leaves until you have something that looks a bit like this. Okay, now as I say, some leaves will work, prints will work better than others. Try it out, see what works best, choose your favourites. The other thing you might want to do with this technique is to paint your page first. Paint your page first, let it dry, and then put your leaf back on and print over the top with your sponge. Okay, try that if you would like to. Okay, and that works very well as well. Okay, so that's technique number 3. let me move that out of the way. Oh, and let me show you an example here of painting your page and then making the shape of the leaf on top. Okay? The last technique I'm going to show you is actually when you paint the leaf and then make the print. So I'm going to take a piece of paper. I've got my poster paints and a paintbrush, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a leaf. I'm going to paint the back of it, so the side where you've got the most bumps sticking out of the leaf. Paint it all over. Now the first print you make probably won't be the best, so it's a good idea to try printing more than once with each object. So I'm going to turn over the leaf, and if you have a spare bit of sponge you can press the leaf down or use a tissue to press it down and then lift it up, and it's created the shape of the leaf. I'm going to try again. Let me try another print. And there we go. Can you see how the second print is more effective than the first? So I'm going to try a third print. Oh, even better. And one more print. Great stuff. Okay, so I've got all sorts of things. You might want to try printing a flower. So you paint the flower and then you print with the flower. You might want to try printing with this sort of shaped leaf. This will work really well. And you can see that earlier on I made that pattern. Now in all of these prints I have put prints on top of each other. It doesn't matter if the prints overlap, okay? Once you have all the different prints that you want, what you can do, and you fill the paper, what you can do is take a large piece of paper and think about how you want to display them. You may want to cut the pieces of paper, you may want to keep them whole, you may want to overlap them. It's absolutely up to you what you choose to do. And you may then, at the end, want to stick some natural objects on the piece of paper as well. So you will have a finished end product of a large piece of paper showing all the different types of natural printing that you have tried. So I'll say good luck everyone, and I'm so looking forward to seeing your work. Bye for now.